This is Christopher Swell. He loved playing Mario, a simple joy that brought him countless hours of fun. Sometimes he'd even share that joy with his roommate, David. But this time would be different. This time, Chris wouldn't walk out alive. Like something out of a twisted horror story, the very game they were playing would become the backdrop to a brutal act. Just hours after this recording, David would stab Christopher over 40 times.
I made $1 million here. This motherfucker piece of shit. And I'm dying too, so I don't give a f. Because he was running away from me. Please, please, please. And I said, I'm not your prisoner.
After committing the shocking act, David called 911 himself, calmly telling police exactly what had happened. He made no effort to hide that he was responsible for the killing, instead claiming it was an act of self-defense. What took place between the initial confrontation and Christopher's death remains unclear. Police rushed to the scene, but nothing could have prepared them for the horror they were about to witness.
Yeah, copy. We don't see him. We're going to go in. We can get into the building. Hold up. Hold up. What apartment again? Police department?
Yes, sir. Are you the one?
Police department.
Cut?
Yes,
What's
sir.
going on? You're cut?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who else is here right now?
Dying in the bathroom in there.
Who is?
His name is Chris, as far as I know.
Okay. Ames 93.
He put his hands on me. Oh, yeah, it's just my best friend on the phone.
Where you just had someone answer the door here at the apartment.
I just needed a witness.
Okay. Do you have any knives on you right now?
No, sir.
All right.
No.
You make sure you're clear, okay?
Yes, sir. Please.
Who else is in the apartment with you besides Chris?
Besides the guy dying on the bathroom floor, no one.
Okay. All right.
There's this guy. We're gonna go.
We need to check the bathroom. We have somebody bleeding in the bathroom. Get him detained, please. All right, come on. Watch your step. Police department.
Which bathroom is he in?
He's right here. I got him on the floor. Police department. Chris? Chris, can you hear me?
On the floor, police discovered Chris, an ER patient, covered in blood with large gash wounds visible across his body. The most terrifying detail was that Chris was barely clinging to life when officers arrived, still managing faint movements. Yet within seconds of the officers speaking to him, Christopher succumbed and passed away.
Chris. Oh my God.
Police department.
Chris, stay still for me.
Darren, stay with him.
Yep, I'm with him. Chris, I need you to stay still for me. Chris, can you tell me your name? Can you talk to me at all, Chris? It's all facial. Can't. Facial in the head, yeah. Don't move.
What's all that blood out there?
I don't know what it's from.
It's got a guy last year from the top of his head. Yeah, well, you're right here. What do you want? There's a giant scalp. He's a scalp messing.
Okay. You just have to go on with it. Can
Yep. I'm here, dude.
What's your name?
After witnessing the sheer brutality, David's officers would rush to detain him before he had even the slightest chance to cause harm to anyone at the scene.
All right.
Face that wall for me.
Watch your step.
So, let me go ahead and say goodbye to you.
Which bathroom is he in?
He's right here. I got him on the floor.
Let me.
Drop your phone. Drop it or put it in your pocket.
I was trying to say goodbye.
He's got blood on him too.
Yes, sir. My foot is split open.
What makes this video so chilling is that David appears completely unaffected emotionally by what just occurred. He brutally murdered his closest friend, but shows no sign of remorse or shock. Meanwhile, officers stood just feet away from the lifeless body. With David now in custody, every available person rushed to get Christopher to the hospital urgently.
On your count, Aaron. Hospital. You guys got good count? Wait, who's got the other leg? I got his. Who's got his left leg? Jared, grab both legs. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Just go straight down the stairs.
Okay. Keep your hand down.
You're okay.
Keep your hand down.
You're right, buddy.
Okay.
All right. Keep there. Yep.
Here we go.
Go. Going.
Over the stairs. Going down. Take your time. Take your time.
You okay?
Yeah.
Nope. But
No. Keep
No,
your hand
no,
down.
no, no, no.
Keep your hand down there. You're okay.
Go right. Go right. Ready? Behind the top.
The officers did everything possible to get Christopher the help he desperately needed, But it was far too late. The damage David inflicted was so severe that even if medics had arrived immediately after the attack, Christopher still wouldn't have survived. With the gravity of the situation settling in, detectives were left with one urgent question. What could have driven David to kill his best friend in such a brutal, merciless way? They assumed something devastating must have triggered it, or so they thought. But the more they questioned David, the clearer it became that this murder was far darker and more ruthless than anyone had ever imagined.
I do kind of want to find out from you what's going on.
Motherfucker put his hands on my throat. You see the red mark?
Red net. Okay. Do you guys both live here together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you and
I
Chris?
just moved in Saturday.
Okay.
He thought I was going to be his prison bit.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Sean, what's your first name, sir? How do you spell your first name?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Couldn't help but laugh.
I just want to make. I
No, I know.
Is
What's
it
your
S-E-A or is it S-H?
first- Thank you. It is.
S-H?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Do you need... Can I grab your phone for you?
Sir, it didn't release.
I know, I gotta fix that, okay? So hold on a minute
Oh
here.
my God.
Give me a second, okay? Alright. I would like to take you down to the PD to talk a little bit more where it's quieter. So, I'm gonna grab your cell phone. Do you want your keys?
Please.
You want SIGs to go with you too?
Please.
Is that cool?
6 months and phone.
So all that. I tell you what.
And if you wouldn't mind, lock the door. And my little girl behind this.
The fact that David asked to lock the door makes the whole situation even stranger. It almost seems like David genuinely believes his murder was justified. That even if Christopher had his hands around his neck and stabbed him over 40 times with a machete, that was somehow the right way to handle things.
All right, Sean, my man, we got to get your foot checked out too.
What's going on?
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Did I do something wrong or?
We're gonna go to the police department. So come on along.
Lily, you stay here, baby.
Yep. We'll make sure everybody's taken care of here. Okay.
The officers would take David to their station for a single, formal interview, where, as anticipated, he showed no remorse whatsoever for his crime.
My name is Matt, and I'm a detective here at the police department. I understand you probably need some stitches. I'd like to talk to you about what happened. Of course. And I'll leave that completely up to you, whether you'd like to go get your stitches, then talk to me, or whether you want to talk to me now.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that handled and
No.
so let's just get it over with.
But no, it's completely...
No, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, we know. Jared,
Well, you can step up.
we can have him step out.
To add to the array of David's sadistic character traits, he asked Officer Braken to leave the room, who happened to be the only black officer present that night. The police report later stated that David had called Breen multiple racial slurs and made racist jokes toward him just minutes after the murder had taken place.
Tonight, at some of the shooting thing, or not a shooting thing,
Awesome fan.
floor fan, room fan, picked it up off the base and hit it in the side of the head with it. And then put the base in my neck and tried to choke me out. And when I got up, I collected his. I know what I did tonight, gentlemen, but the mother put his hands on my throat and I defended myself.
Before I ask you any questions, you are here in handcuffs, so...
Is that still bothering you?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
The left one.
Left one still?
Yes, can it really?
Okay, hold on.
You want to put a second set in there? Can you...
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's get a second set in there so it gets you a little more...
Just give me a minute here, okay?
David insisted on having his handcuffs readjusted before continuing the conversation. Reluctantly, they complied and moved the cuffs to the front of his wrists. But as the dialogue resumed, David's true emotions began to surface.
There's one gentleman by the name of Todd that, in fact, I don't know his last name, by the way. The second night I was there, Sunday night, Chris ran up on him, and I'm not going to do that type of one because I know what would happen to me, but you know what?
All due respect.
No, I mean, he ran up on me like, get the f*** out of my face, screaming at me, get the f*** out of my face, because we had to go to the store. Because I wanted to get some groceries and stuff. Just bring in, my share. And called Pop, and I said, would you mind watching my little girlfriend, my boxer? Yeah, Lily. I'm worried about her, by the way.
We're taking care of her. We got an officer out there that's with Lily, so.
Do not put her down, please.
They're taking care of
her.
her.
She's my solution.
Okay.
No, I beg you.
Okay.
I retired last year because of the cystoma on the back. I didn't have the heart to. I'm sorry.
No, I know.
No, sir. No, sir, you don't. I lost my wife, my mother, and all three of my dogs all within 3 months of 2008. My next door neighbor walked that boxer over to me in one hand and said, "You need a friend." And I said, "I do." So I certified her and trained her myself.
Awesome.
And she's in that apartment, but after the stomas appeared, I didn't have the heart to make her work. So I officially retired last year. She turns 12, Valentine's Day next year.
Although this has nothing to do with Christopher, it reveals that David does carry some guilt within him. More importantly, now that he's in an emotional state, the detective wants to take advantage of this and try to uncover the real reason why David killed Christopher so brutally.
You see what he did, or tried to do.
So how did you find the apartment?
He advertised it online. I found it on, if I'm not mistaken, Marketplace.
On Facebook Marketplace?
Yes, sir.
And where'd you move from, sir?
I'm sorry. I'm worried about my little girl.
I understand.
I understand.
She's all I have. I lost my wife after she passed. This fucker, he was a friend of mine, actually. I just want your two perspectives. I want to see the look on your face when I'm about to tell you what was asked of me. When I told him about losing my wife, he said, "What was the worst part?" I see it in you. You're puzzled by it. I said, "The worst part of what? Losing my wife? You mean other than losing my wife? The worst part was the last 9 months. Just watching her wither and die, and she was not able to even respond. And my best friend was the one that brought all that home to me. 43 years I've known this woman. She's the one that brought it all home to me about 6 years ago. We were talking on the phone, and I said, "Love you, good night." And she called me back and said, "God damn it, I'm still talking. What are you hanging up on me about?" I said, "What?" Then I said goodnight. She said that she didn't say goodbye, and it just don't. Just slept there. Yeah, you did, aren't you? I never got to tell my wife goodbye. Because those last 8-9 months, she was unable to respond. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But to this day, when I talk to you on the phone, I would not go say goodbye to you. I know what I did tonight, gentlemen, but I was attacked. And I'm not comfortable.
David seemed to have lost everything, except for his dog, his wife, and his mother. After losing his dog, he felt like there was nothing left to lose. The attack by Christopher became the fuel for David's anger, pushing him to lash out at the world. Although he openly poured his heart out to the detectives, he still hesitated to fully embrace his self-defense claims. Fortunately, the detective had some strategies to challenge this hesitation. The first step was to get a clear recollection of the events that led up to the murder.
Now, how can I help you?
So, tonight, like, let's, go back to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
All right. Can you just kind of walk me through everything that led up to this?
I can. About 3 or 4 o'clock was about the time that he had come out. And He has a,
Come out of his room?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, he had an Xbox out in the living room as well as in the bedroom, and my PlayStation 4 had just grabbed it out. My thing went running, so I couldn't use my PlayStation, and I said, "Do you mind if I use your Xbox?" "Well, no," I said, "to an account. He needs my credit card information for Xbox."
Well, yeah. So you buy your
I'm
game.
just trying to play your console, dude. I don't want to buy shit. Well, it's just $1 to get you registered. Okay. He needs all my previous addresses and all this. I'm thinking, what the f are you doing, dude? I just want to play your console. Is this a recurring charge? I asked. Yes, $1 every month. It was worth not a fine. About 3 minutes later, I got an email. You can pull it up on my phone. It's right there.
All right. Well, if you want to show,
$15.99 a month recurring. The mother.
he signed up for the trial, and then
Yes, sir. Shotgun knocked on his door. And you gotta say, "I'm f***ing sleeping," he says. Really? 5 minutes after you just walked out of the room? Okay. I do have a plan. I'm f***ing sleeping. He screams at him. I'm gonna say, that's when he came rushing in with the fan and all that. Okay.
So was the fan in his room?
Yes, sir.
And he came out of the room?
The fan's still in his room. A couple of pieces. Because he was part of it to try to choke me out.
So he,
The base on it is when he pressed it against my throat, and his 300-pound fat sat on my chest.
According to David, when he confronted Christopher about the extra $14 in charges, Christopher suddenly burst through his door and tried to choke him. Obviously, this sounds extreme and hard to believe, so the detective would try to investigate thoroughly and debunk the claim as much as possible.
so after you flipped him off, what happened next?
fair.
This morning,
I know you are.
I flip him over on his back.
Okay.
I jump up. He'll take off running. He throws something. I don't know. It hit me in the back of the head, so I would assume either the stem and the base, the fan and the stem, or the base itself that he was trying to choke me out with, something that hit me in the back of the head. I ran to my room because he had already put his hand on. I knew what I was going for.
Okay.
And I went and died.
And what was that?
It's a kukri. You know what that is?
Is that, no, I was thinking a karambit with it. So no, I don't think I know what style of blade that is.
It's a short machete with a thick, curved blade. Okay. Shaped like a banana.
You got that from your room?
Yes, sir.
And
Out of its sheath. Because I slept with it the last 3 nights. Because the first night he came up.
This is David's first major slip-up. He clearly claims that he made it to his room without Christopher attacking him. Yet he still grabs his machete and moves toward him. If his true goal was to safely de-escalate the situation, he could have simply closed his door and called 911. David had no intention of calming things down. His plan was to kill, and what he says next only confirms that even more.
And then did he come into your room, or did you go back out of your room and?
No, I came back out of my room and met him in the hallway as he was heading to my room. I met him halfway.
Okay.
That's why you saw the blood.
I saw the blood.
There's blood from the hallway all the way.
So you guys kind of met in the middle between the
I met
rooms.
him, and then I shoved him back in the bathroom and said, "You're gonna die. That's what you find me on my floor." I'm already dying, John. From this tube in my hand, I don't give a f***, but I'm not gonna let him put his hands on my throat and try to attack me. Not without a fight.
So you shoved him into the bathroom, and you.
I didn't shove him. I split his goddamn skull, and he fell in there. because he was running away from me. Please, please, please. And I said, I'm not your prisoner.
This was the nail in the coffin for David. His efforts to claim self-defense were meaningless after what he just admitted.
You want to keep talking prison? You want to keep talking prison? You want to try to punk me out or something? Is that your game? I'm not your prisoner.
So, where was the first blow that you landed?
Towards the end of the hallway, just as you come from my bedroom to the kitchen/thing.
I was in the apartment, so
Yes, sir.
not at his room door, but
No, not at that
As you're
door.
coming in.
Remember that hallway where I went
Yeah.
down to my room?
Yeah.
Okay, where that hallway ends, at the beginning of the kitchen/living room area, those blood drops.
Yeah, that's where all the blood was in
That's
there.
where they first got the shit.
And then where did that land on his body? You remember?
First one, I recall, it would be the right-hand side of his right.
Right. His right hand side.
and he was facing.
Right.
He was facing away from you when you said he was
No,
recruited.
he was looking right at
Oh,
us.
okay.
And it was in your right hand or your left hand? The
The
blade.
blade
Yeah.
was in my right hand.
Okay. So if I had a blade in my right hand and it hit the right side of his face,
Yes, right.
it was a cross,
Yes, sir.
kind of like
Gotcha.
that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So one was here. Was there a second one?
No, there was 3 or 4.
3 or 4? Were they all the same motion to the same side of the body, or
I couldn't tell you.
after that first one?
After that first one, I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
Okay. At any time, did you feel like you had a chance to separate and get away from him?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I mean,
What that he's done, down,
or that when you
out for the count kind of thing?
or when you came out of your room and he saw you had the blade.
Oh no, he was still trying to fight.
Okay.
He
And
didn't go down until I had Zola on the phone when they arrived. Because I called Zola. And I said, Zola, I'm going to jail. She said, oh, goddamn, I'm going to do it. You gentlemen have been in tussles. Do you stop until they're done? No. I just kept swinging and swinging.
and he kept moving backwards.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Look, I'm just telling you. I kept going until it was done.
And you said you picked up part of the fan at some point?
I picked up the fan, yes.
Because that was still somewhere close.
It's all over the bedroom, bathroom, there's
Yeah, gotcha.
pieces of it everywhere. You saw it.
I saw it, yeah.
What'd you do with the blade?
You want to answer that one? You know where.
I know where it's at. It was sitting on the dining room table.
I left it.
On the dining room
He had it on the table.
Was anyone else, was Todd at the apartment when this happened?
He was. Matter of fact, I went back and knocked on his door and I said, Todd, I may or may not have just get that motherfucker piece of shit. He started shaking, quivering. I needed some alcohol and took off. When was the last I saw Todd?
And that was before we got there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you had moved here from Bryant, you said?
Yes, sir.
From Bryant's in Arkansas?
Brian. Arkansas, yes, sir.
And I guess, do you have family in Ames or?
I have no family. My wife and my mother was the last of my family. I'm all alone in this world. And I'm dying too, so I don't give a f. I really don't.
Because you said you have a tumor?
Yes,
Is that what you
sir.
said? Sorry to hear that.
The entire, matter of fact, these are the doctor's words, not mine. It's the largest they've ever seen. They don't know how I'm walking around. But it's the same thing they said when they said I'd never use that arm again, too. That's the one I used to take that mother head apart tonight.
Do you feel you went overboard tonight?
No, sir. I didn't go overboard. I did what I had to do to get that big fat off of me. He outweighs me by 120 pounds. I did what I had to do.
And that seemed to be all the detectives needed. Everything pointed clearly, undeniably, to David being a cold-blooded killer. But just as they were preparing to end the interview, David leaned forward and delivered one final chilling statement that froze everyone in the room.
I'm not sorry for what I've done. I did what I had to do. I hope you gentlemen
Do you
understand.
need another tissue?
David showed no remorse for Christopher's death, and he made sure the officers knew it. But unfortunately for him, the judge showed him just as little mercy. David Shaw Hunter was charged with first-degree murder for the brutal killing of Christopher Swell in September 2021. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He would file for a mistrial later that year, but was swiftly denied by the court.